Okay ladies, so we have got our binding ready to top stitch on, and so now I'm going to turn this over to the right side and I'm going to show you how you do your mitre. So when you pull your thread this way, you will see that you've got a perfect little mitre that's happened on the wrong side. So you're going to lay your binding and it's going to cover your stitching. I'll hold it up like this. So there's your stitching line. Now you're going to pull your folded edge over and it's going to cover that stitching line. So it's brilliant. And I'm just going to pop a pin in there to show you. And I'm going to be using my binding stitch right on this edge. So you come all the way to here, you flatten this down, put another pin in there to show you. I don't pin very much when I do it, but I'll show you. So there's 2 pins and it's covered over here. And then you simply just put your thumb up and pull your binding right over for the edge and you've got another perfect mitre. I'll bring it up, stand up and show you. So you push this over, you pull this down, and you can see that it has mitered the top corner as well, and you don't actually stitch across there, you just stitch up to here and down the side. Alright, so I'm just going to pin it to show you, and I'll show you on each corner so you understand. And this is going to come over to here, and as you can see I've actually put a nice grosgrain ribbon on the side here that matches with my colour scheme. So at my join I'm just simply going to turn that under, and I'm just going to put a pin in here to hold it to show you because it's going to be easier for you to see. So I put a pin on that end, and then here's my join. This just comes all the way over and covers to the other side, and just pull it. You can press this, actually it's not a bad idea, I'll press it. I don't normally press it, but I'll press it so you can see. So just give it a little press, because by pressing everything it holds nice and flat. So again I'm coming up to another corner, pull this all out, press this down, and I'll come around this way like so, and then you simply get your nail, finger, push it up to the corner and pull your mitre over. It's very, very, very good, and it's perfect every time. You never get a bad mitre doing this method. Okay, so if I press that, you can see that clearly. So press one up and then pull the other one down. So I'm just going to stitch all the way around. Actually, I'll be a good girl and I'll press it all. I never ever press my bindings on a quilt, but as this is a foot book and it's easier to show you, it's quite a good idea to press it, but don't ever press a binding on a quilt. It's a little bit different for this because we want it quite stiff and firm, but a binding you want very, very soft. So just remember, you are pressing the first one, turning, putting your finger up and folding it back on every corner so that it's nice and even. Okay, turning, pressing and folding that corner back, so you get a lovely mitre. But again, like I said, do not go pressing it if it's for a quilt. So now all I have to do is stitch around there. So the stitch I'm using, I did tell you last time, is stitch number 52, this little stitch here, and it's designed for top stitching on your quilts, and the width is 0.9, so not 1, 0.9, and the length is 0.9, so it's very, very, very tiny. So I'm going to use foot number 20, and I'll show you that as well. So foot number 20 is the open toe embroidery foot. If you haven't got it, you can use foot number 1, it's fine. Just by using this foot you can actually see where you're going. Alright, so it's a good little foot. Foot number 6 would be perfect as well. I like to stitch my join first because I like to get that out of the road. So I like to hold and stitch my join. I've got enough fingers. I usually have my little tailor's awl here and I haven't got it. I don't like to pin too much. So I'm just going to start at my join. So again, remember you are doing a very, very fine stitch. So you want to make sure that your left hand swing of your, oh, I've got to mirror image it, Robin. You've got to mirror image it if you're stitching this way. So I've got my stitch which goes to the right and I want it to go to the left, so I've mirror imaged it. Nearly made a boo-boo. So I'll just get a needle here because I haven't got my awl. You need to hold your seam over at the beginning. So it stitches from the left and it's exactly the same stitch as a blind hemming, but it's very, very tiny. So same stitch as what we've already done today. All right, so just make sure you get that join nice and even. And I just use an awl normally, but I haven't got one there. I take the pins out because I don't actually use pins when I'm sewing this. And away you go. So it's doing a very, very fine, fine little pin stitch, should I call it. Very similar to a blanket stitch, but it's identical to a blind hem. So you're just going to top stitch, and when you come to the corners, just make sure it's folded in the right way and carry on sewing. Put your needle down on your corner, needle down, turn your work and start again. Alright, so you're getting a very, very nice little finish. It's lovely. I probably won't sew all the way around this because you don't need to sit and watch me sew all the way around it, but you can see the finish that you get from it. So I'll just go across the top here, making sure you're covering over your stitch that you've already done. That's why I like to do that stitch in a different colour, so I can see it and I can make sure that I'm covering it over. So I did the underneath stitch in white and I'm top stitching it in navy. So you can see it does exactly like the blind hemming. So I'll stop there and I'll see if we can get a close-up of that corner. So I've stitched up to here. You don't stitch across the corner and then you just turn. So it's a very nice tidy stitch. It makes everything nice and tidy on the front and on the back, and it's a really, really nice finish. So I'll just finish doing all the way around there. Now to finish this off, rather than eyelets like I told you last time, I'm just going to do 3 buttonholes. So I'm going to show you a page that I finished for you because you all know how to do buttonholes. So there's your finished foot blind hem stitch page, and here is a page that I've done, and you can see I've done 1, 2, 3 buttonholes, and for this one I've just done a fancy stitch around bias binding and my buttonholes in an opposite colour, and then I've just threaded these holders through there because I can undo them nice and easily. When I finish my book I can put a ribbon through there, but right now this is a good way to do it because it's getting taken on and off. So just 3 buttonholes, and I haven't put grosgrain ribbon on this particular page, but I put grosgrain ribbon on that one, so you can choose whether to have it or not. Now I'm just going to show you another foot book that one of my staff has started, so you can have another idea. So there's your page you can have fun with this month. So this is a foot book that's been started, and so there is the front page, and we had a wonderful fabric which you can see behind me here, which is a lot of fun, and that is a larger version of it. So it's a bit of fun. So if you want to, you could just cut out a bit of fabric and fuse it on for your back page. So that's a little bit of fun. So I'll just open that up so you can see the front and the back page, and then I'm going to turn it around so you can see she started to do her inside pages. So the sky's the limit. You can do all sorts of things. You can make them any sort of size, and I think it looks fabulous. And if you don't want to do a tiny stitch like I've done around the edge, you can see that this has got a very wide fancy stitch around it, and that looks absolutely fine as well. So there's the foot book, girls. So let's see what you can come up with. So I'll just pop that away, and I'll pop that one away as well. So now I'm going to show you how to make a fun gift for any age. This one is actually really, really fun because You could make it for great grandma, you can make it for your auntie, you can make it for your mum. But what's wonderful nowadays is the young ones are getting into all this vintage type of thing. And so this is a little holder to put on your dinner table or at lunchtime to put your dinner rolls in. And it's so easy to make and it's so much fun. So I'm just going to put my white bobbin back on my machine. I'll take this off because we don't need to show you the stitches now. Now while I'm setting this up, you can have a good look at this beautiful, beautiful jacket, because this month your Bernina inspirational book, this one here, it's inspirational book number 58, has got this wonderful jacket in here that you can see. It's a vest actually, should I say, and it's reversible, and we've made it out of a very, very good quality sweatshirting that we sell. And so with this, it has been top stitched and used the walking foot. It's got a lovely zip in here and it is fully reversible. So it's a very, very nice jacket. Actually, I'll turn it around so you can see. It's had some flat locking done on the back seam. It's got a wonderful hood on here, and the young ones would love it as well as any age. And I love the fact that it's fully reversible and it's going to be very, very, very warm. And so that is our jacket out of our book. I'll turn the model back around and you can see how the zip has been done on an angle here. So zip this back up, then you can have the zip as high or as low as you want it. Unfortunately, the zip is not a reversible one, so you can't flick it around. You just have to get your hand in when you want to wear it reversible, because sometimes we can get those zips and sometimes we can't. But it's really, really nice. Now all the patterns that are in the book, they don't have seam allowances added to them. So you need to make sure when you trace out your pattern that you add your seam allowance. Oh, make sure your foot's up when you're threading or you won't have any tension. So for my next little project that I'm going to show you, you are actually going to cut 6 12-inch circles. So you want to have 3 in your patterned fabric because it all has to be 100% cotton. So you're going to have 3 circles exactly the same there, and then you're going to have 3 circles in a plain fabric, so 100% cotton. And all you're going to do, obviously I'm not going to show you how to sew 6 circles, so I'm going to show you how to sew 1 circle together and how I turn it through. Now when you're turning anything through, like a vest or a quilt or something small like this, what happens is when you turn it through a little hole, it stretches. So we're going to do what's called a stay stitch. So where our opening is going to be, our 2 or 3 inch opening, we're going to stay stitch. Now what stay stitching means is you're just going to run a straight stitch that is very tight. So on this machine it's very easy, it's just an ordinary straight stitch. I've got the 1/4 inch foot on and I'm just going to run 3 inches around where my opening is going to be. So that's about there. That looks about right. And I'm going to do the same to my lining. Alright, so just a little opening where the opening is going to be. Now I'm going to put right side to right side. So I'm going to line up my stay stitching like that. And then I'm just going to stitch all the way around a 1/4 inch seam. Okay, and if you need to, you can actually give it a little press, because what pressing does before you start sewing is it keeps everything and holds everything nice and flat. Oh, beautiful, beautiful cutting. Not really. I might just straighten off that one, so it's lucky I did press it because it's not very perfectly round. So I'm just going to trim that so that the bottom one matches the top one, or it won't be very even when I sew it. So you do need to get those nice and even, and maybe cut them at the same time instead of separately would be a really good plan. And you can pin it if you need to, but really, realistically for this you don't need to. So I'm going to do a 1/4 inch seam around there. So remember to lock it off at the beginning or reverse it if you haven't got a locking off button. and I'm going to just stitch all the way around with a 1/4 inch seam. You don't have to be too particular about it, but you do want a round circle, and you do want all 3 of them to be the same size. So you're going to do 1, 2, 3, both the same, with the right side of the fabrics together, and a patterned and a plain together. Another thing to make sure when you're doing your projects is that you've filled a new bobbin, because there's nothing worse than starting halfway through a circle, getting to the other end and realizing you've run out of bobbin, and not all the machines tell you when your bobbin's running out. Yes, definitely not a perfectly cut circle, Robin, so make sure that you do cut them nice and even. So come back to where your opening is. Remember, you've got your stay stitch, and reverse or lock off. There's a lock off button on this machine. Okay. Now this is going to seem very strange, but I actually, when I turn my circle through, I use a point turner because I find it really, really good to go around my curves. So I'm going to use that to turn it through. But instead of clipping all the way around the outside of my circle, I'm going to use my pinking shears, because pinking shears are like clipping, and it saves me a lot of work on a corner. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to clip off my raw edge. So I'm going beside my stitching and I'm just clipping this off, because I'm going to be re-sewing anyway. I'm going to be top stitching some lace on, so I don't need to worry. So it's going to be double stitched. So I'm just trimming off with pinking shears. And a lot of you will have pinking shears in the cupboard and you're not utilizing them. Well, this is much better than going around and clipping a curve. So this makes it very, very, very quick. And I'm purposefully making sure it drops in front of me so I don't make a mess all over the floor. So I can just pick it up nice and easily. Okay, so just trim it all off. Wonderful pinking shears. They can range from $40 to $70, and always buy very good ones. These are the Mundial pinking shears, and they're very, very good. Okay, and then I just get all my bits and bobs. Sometimes I keep that to put in my fabric pizza because it looks very, very cool, and sometimes I throw it out. So I might just keep that one because that's rather sweet with the little dots on it. So now I go to my iron and I'm going to turn this through, but to make it easy I'm using my point turner. So for $1.90 they're the best thing you can have in your sewing cupboard. So turn through your little opening, and you want your iron nice and warm, and remember it's cotton fabric. So to do this I'd pre-wash my fabric, because you're going to be putting food inside this, so you really, really need to pre-wash it. So just shake it out. It's quite cute with a little spot. I decided that would look quite nice. So if I didn't use my point turner here, I'd have to roll it with my fingers. But by using my point turner, what happens is I just hold my fingers here and I push this out. And it's really, really good for doing curves. And then I press it. See how nice that is? And the best thing about it is it makes it even both sides. So I really, really, really like using the point turner. So I'll just show you that again. So I'll go up here. Oh, it's a bit hard to do it backwards. So I just hold my fingers there and I run my point turner around, and I'm running it along my seam like that, and then I press it. It's really, really good. Oops, except for I didn't do that one properly. Make sure you get it on the right side. You want it in between those two bits. There it is. Don't push your seam one way or it won't work. Okay, so you just want to get that in between. Nice curve. And I'm going to be top stitching lace on, so you don't have to be too fussy, but it's good to get it right, so you might as well. So again, from this side you might be able to see it. So curving it around and then pressing it. Now because you've done that lovely, lovely stay stitching at the beginning, you now have got also your curved line to press, which makes it really, really easy. So there's two reasons why you do it. One, to stop it stretching, and the other one is so that it's in the right place for the next job. So I'm just going to press this under very, very carefully, and it's going to be along that stitching line without burning my fingers, hopefully. So just give it a little pull so you can see. There's your curve, and then turn it over and do this side. So you want to just pull this out and get it along that curve, and it's very fiddly because it's tiny, very, very tiny. So it's only a 6mm seam, and remember you already trimmed some off, so just very carefully so you don't burn your fingers. And then just press the back onto it and make sure it's right from, whoops, don't stuff it up. So just press that down, make sure it's right on both sides. It's very hot. I'll just wait for it to cool down a bit. And if it's not even both sides, like my one isn't, just roll that middle bit down. It's really hard once you've pressed it. There we go, that looks better. Okay, so once you've pressed that nicely, I'm now going to stitch on a very, very pretty lace. If I did not want to use lace, what I could do was I could just top stitch it, but I like this little lace on the edge of it. So there we are. So I'm going to change and put a different foot on, because the 1/4 inch foot's fine, but I'll find an easier foot to use. So I might use number 20 again because it's right beside me. So remember what I said before, when you're going to top stitch, put your stitch length longer. So I'm going to put my stitch length on 3, and I am going to just run my little lace along the edge, and I'm going to top stitch it on. So you don't need to worry about sewing up the opening first, because you don't need to. Alright, just back stitch it or lock it off at the beginning, and then you can pin this if you like. I don't. I just sew. It's only an edging, and you've got 3 circles to do, so if you spend too much time doing one thing, then it's just going to take twice as long. And you're just running through the center of your lace. Okay, so just line it all up and sew it on. Now what I'm doing is I'm just making sure that my lace is just kind of going off the edge of my circle. Oh yeah, that was very, very straight sewing there. And put your needle stop down, so you're just doing a little bit at a time. It's a very sweet lace, and it's not hard to see where to go with this foot. Okay, so all the way around. So I've got my needle down, and I'm lifting my knee control up to move my lace. So needle down, knee control up, go around your curve. Just do a little bit at a time. One lady said she likes to, when she's putting on lace, to tack it on first. And of course you'll get a very perfect result if you do that. But would I ever? No, I wouldn't, because I'm always in far too much of a hurry. But if you were doing it for, you know, if you wanted it to be perfect, by all means. Alright, can you see how it's a very sweet little edge around my circle? So you're going to do 2 circles with the lace on the right side of the fabric, and the last circle is going to have the lace stitched to the wrong side of the fabric. So 2 to the right side and 1 to the wrong side. That's really, really important for what you're doing. And if you do one upside down, you're going to have to end up making more circles, so you end up making 2 the same colour. And I just think it's just such an easy, quick thing to make, and it costs less than $10, even if you're buying all the fabrics. So it's a really nice gift, and it's a very reasonable gift. So you could go along to a luncheon or a dinner, and you could make one of these, put some lovely dinner rolls in it, and then you could leave it for the host as a gift, which would be really nice. I think it's very sweet. And if you'd like to make them for Christmas presents, you probably need to get started so you can get them all done in time. I mean, it's March already. It'll be Christmas before you know it. Another thing which is really fun is you could have it filled with Easter eggs for Easter. It's not all about just bread rolls, or you could put little mini muffins in it, or you could make it the circle bigger and have the Texas muffins in it, whatever you'd like to do. I prefer the smaller ones. So I'm nearly at the join. Now I don't fuss about doing the joining on my lace. I just cut off the last flower. You can either overlap it by one or not, and then when I finish stitching it, I put a little bit of fray check on my lace so that it won't fray. It's too easy, and this is a very oh, I did one flower too many. This is a very, very pretty little, cute little flower. Pretty little lace, and just back stitch it or lock it off. Okay, so here you have your circle with your finished lace on it. So two of these are going to be identical, and then one is going to have the lace sewn on the other side. So I'm going to show you one that I finished. Obviously I'm not going to make you watch me stitch it. So here's a finished one, and here's my second finished one. So I'm going to lay one on top of the other. Now what I want to do is I want to put a central line through here, and I want to do 60-degree angle another line, and 60-degree angle another line. So I'm now going to show you how to mark that on your block, on your circle. So what I use is what's called a charcoal liner. You can get two different types. You can get the pen style like this, and you can get the other one like this. Now if I put it onto my black here and show you, they give you a wonderful, wonderful line of chalk, and they both are about the same width. So you choose whether you like the pen style or whether you like the other style, which the original ones, which actually are cheaper. And what's good about it is they can dust off. So it's a very easy one, and they actually do come off quite easily. This is just tracing Vilene, because it's only a chalk, a very, very light dusting of chalk. So I'll use the yellow today so it will show up on my blue and white. So what I want to do first is I want to get my central line down through here. So I'm just going to fold that, and I'm just going to put a little mark at there and a little mark here, and then I'm going to open that up, and I'm going to draw a line straight down from there to there. Alright, so you can see how wonderful the chalk is. Now if you're a patchworker, you'll have one of these wonderful boards like this. And what's good about a board like this is it has a 60-degree angle. So if you get the central mark of your, where is our little mark there? If you get your central mark there and put a pin, this is just one way of doing it, and I'm going to show you another because not everybody will have a board. Okay, so there's my central line there. If I line that up with my pin here, all I need to do is get a ruler and go 60 degrees here and go all the way through there. Hold this, very hard when you're standing up. And there's my other, just about impossible, here's my other 60-degree angle here. So what I'm doing is making 6 pieces of pie. Alright, now I'm going to show you if you don't have a board, because in all honesty, not everybody is a patchworker. So I bought my little fluoro tape measures that I sell that I absolutely love, so you can see. So if you don't have a board, you can just measure from here across to 5 3/4 of an inch to where it will meet on the curve, and I'm going to mark it. So 5 3/4 inches is going to give you a perfect 60-degree pie. So I worked it out for you ladies, and then go around one and go from that marking 5 3/4 inches, and then the last marking will be the same. So turn it around and you go 5 3/4 inches. So this is nice and easy, but the board's brilliant because you don't have to do any work. 5 3/4 inches. there's my markings, and now I just, I'll leave my central pin there, and now I just line up this one with the opposite marking, and that will give me 60 degrees here, a 60 degrees through there, and on your ruler, if I hold that up, it's showing my 60 degrees here. So you know you've done it right. So you just go there to that marking, and you know it's perfect because your ruler does also, and I'll put the ruler up the right way, has also got your 60 degrees here and 60 degrees there. So no matter what you do, you really can't go wrong. But if you don't have any of these rulers and any of these boards, then you can check it's right. So now I can just line this up here in my next mark, 60 degrees there and 60 degrees there, and if I hold it up, you can see 60 degrees, and then I just sew through here, that's 60 degrees, and this is 60 degrees. Very clever, all right? So that's all you need to do. So now I'm going to lay this one on top of this one, and I'm going to sew through all my layers. So I'm going to put my walking foot on and sew through all those layers. Okay, so you've got 6 pieces of your pie, and you have got 2 layers getting sewn together. Okay, so I'm just going to stitch through here. I don't need to mark my bottom one because it is identical to my top one. So you might like to just pin and hold it. The reason why I'm putting my walking foot on is because I've got 2 layers. All right, so I'm going to lengthen it out to 3 because I'm top stitching, which it's already on, and I'm going to back stitch, and I'm just going to sew through my top and bottom layer, and my walking foot is feeding it nice and even. So you can see why you need your chalk marks, and then reverse, and then you're going to do the same to your other 2 pieces of your pie. So sew through here, and you're going to directly through the center. See how the walking foot just feeds everything nice and evenly. And reverse, and clip as you go, because then it'll be nice and tidy when you do your last one. So you're nearly there, and then here's the next one here. So sewing from this side, and this will cross over in the center again. Too easy. Right, so there is the 2 top ones done, and for the base one, which I've put somewhere very, very safe. Oh, here it is here. I was wondering where it went. For the base one, if you mark it exactly the same way, it will be much, much easier to finish it. So I'm just going to zip it through here. Oh, I better find my halfway mark. This just makes it easier, so you'll get to see this again quickly. So sew through there. Draw through there. And you only need to draw a little bit in. And this time I'm going to get my central mark, and I'll just sit it on my board there. There's my line, there's my line, and I'm just going to cheat because I can. Oh, I better draw this all the way through because otherwise I won't be able to line it up properly. Okay. Make sure that's definitely a halfway before you do another thing. Perfect. Alright, so line that up there, and then you can get your marking through here. So if you're not sure that you've got it right, just use your board and you use your ruler. Okay, so there's one marking, and if you're not sure you can turn it, but the board's already got it on there, so I don't have to worry. Okay, and if I bring it up to here, I can make sure that it's perfect, 60 degrees and 60 degrees. Okay, Now look how easy this is. You now have got your pie here, you've got your pie here. You're going to pick up just the bottom one, and every piece of that pie you're going to use 30 degrees. So here's your 60, here's your 30, and you're going to line it up with the bottom line. So you've gone from here 60 degrees and you've turned it 30 degrees, and you're lining up the mark at the bottom, because what you're doing is making another set of pockets. So here's your 60, here's your 30, there's one pocket. You come around to the next marking, you pick up just your bottom two, you put a pin in there, losing all my pins, and now you have 1, 2, 3 pockets. Turn it around, pick up the base one, put another pin in, and now you have 3 pockets. 1, 2, 3, 4 pockets. And what you do on every pin underneath here, you're going to stitch, I'll leave the walking foot on, you're just going to stitch an inch, 2.5 to 3 centimeters in that fabric to make a pocket. You don't need to go any further. Just watch out for your little flower there that you just squished, and just go down and go back up. So every single one of these is only going to have, if you have a look there, that much stitching on it. Okay, so I'm going to show you a finished one now. So you're going to stitch this one next, then you're going to come round and stitch this one, and you're going to go all the way around till you finish. Miss one, stitch this one, and they'll all be stitched. So I'll show you a finished one. So here is a finished piece. I have got the top ones done. I've stitched every second base one, and what you do to finish it is you put 2 male studs on one little pocket. You miss a pocket, you put a female stud in your third pocket, where is it, here, and you put female stud to male stud, and then you get your female stud here and you put it on your male stud. It's all in your notes to show you where to put it, and you've got a very sweet little basket for your table. So in here goes your little dinner rolls, so you can see why it would be a very lovely gift. But if you want to, you can pick up every second pocket, and these could be filled with Easter eggs. So you can see how pretty it is with a little lace on it. It looks very, very nice, and it's a lovely thing to have on your table. And I'm just going to show you, this is what it looks like without the lace, and I've just pinned the center because I haven't put my studs on yet. So it's a very easy thing to make, and it's a really, really lovely thing to make for a gift. Okay? Now the last thing I have to tell you about quickly is, because it's Easter time. So I have put on the notes a website where you can go to lilblueboo.com, and you can actually see the tutorial to make this little bunny. All I've changed in the pattern is I've added a pocket so I can put my little Easter eggs in, and I've added a tail on the back of my little bunny. Alright, so if you're interested in making this, you can go to lilblueboo.com, and it's in the notes, so you can go and have a look at that to make that Easter bunny. And our traditional Easter bunnies for us Bernina girls, you can buy a packet to make a girl and boy bunny, and they're $5 a packet, and there's a girl and a boy, and all it is some bits of felt, sew on a little apron, put some ears and some cheeks and a nose and mouth, glue on some eyes, put a bit of stuffing in the middle and a bit of elastic on the back, and you've got a very, very cute little bunny. And the idea is you put an Easter egg in the back and you give it as a gift. So if you're interested in that, you can email me for the notes if you don't have it, or you can buy a $5 pack with the notes and everything you need to make 2 bunnies. So you need to get it inspired for Easter because it's coming around. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that today, and you've been inspired, and you can certainly, in your beautiful magazine that you've got this month, can make this wonderful vest which is reversible, and there's also loads and loads of free patterns and designs in the book. So you get 4 of these a year at Bernina Club, and this is the second book for the year. I know it's fast getting it, but we'd rather give it to you so you've got the whole year to make projects. So there you go. So I will see you next month, which will be April, and we'll be having it a little bit earlier this month because of Anzac Day and Easter. So we'll see you soon.